All right, so let me just confirm. Okay. All right, so a couple of things we were talking about. That's fine. Yeah, it's fine. You can push it out a little bit. Okay. So a couple of things that we were doing, just to recap. So with flyers, you have less than 1% return. That's what the market is touting. That's the return that they get. But the secret is that if you really want to get to that 1%, you have to keep sending flyers over and over, and you cannot stop. You have to keep sending the flyers. So if you are sending out, if you have 52 weeks in a year, so if you're sending bi-weekly, you have 26 flyers that are being sent out. We did our math based on sending flyers to 894 homes or 1,000 homes. We did, our estimation is about $300 per delivery. So for the year is going to cost, for the 26 flyers, is going to cost you $8,000. The area that we picked with Shabazz had an average price of a house at $700,000, and based on 1 to 3 ratio. So for the one listing that you're going to get, you're going to have one buyer client because they're going to be buying again, and you're going to have one another client that you're going to generate from that listing, because obviously you guys are going to go out there and market that property. There's going to be 3 transactions for every listing that you're going to get. So based on that, your probably average is going to be around $42,000 that you're going to make per transaction over there. And if you have one listing with 3 transactions at 834, we estimate that you're going to get probably around 16.68 inquiries. And out of that, if you have a 50% conversion rate, you're going to have 8 listings coming in. So 16.68, you're going to have 8 listings. That's 50% conversion rate. So a lot of numbers being thrown around, but the whole idea that I want you to, the whole thing I want you to remember is this triangle over here. Okay? This triangle is what defines everything. So you have a laser focus on getting listings. In order to get listings, you need to send flyers out in that area. Nobody else is doing flyers, so if you do flyers, you're going to have a much better return on that money. So, we figured this out. So now how do we add steroids? That's the fun part. So, we have door knocking. Now, you have flyers that are going out. So the first flyer that you're going to send out, let's do a little bit of that too. So, let me cross this up. Oh, is this permanent marker? No, it's dry erase. It just doesn't like it right now.
Need a wet
No,
tissue.
that's okay. So let's take a look. So you have one you're going to send out, which is an introduction. Right? So who are you? What are you? What do you do? How long have you been in the industry? All about you. But that's the only thing where you're going to talk about all about you. That's the only one. Everything else should be thought about from the perspective of the buyer or seller. And the reason we introduced this, because you're obviously going to start in the new month. So let's say it's February right now, February 4th. You're going to start in March. You're going to send your first flyer out. But when you're sending your first flyer out, there's one flyer that is going to be market research that you're going to be sending out. So market data. But you're not going to be able to send it on the first week because the data is just not ready yet. You're going to send it on the second or in the second part of the month. So you do one introduction, then you do a second one, which is market update. Market update is basically what we did to search that area. You're going to just save that search, and you're going to go in there and you're going to say, okay, what are the properties that are sold in the area? How many new came? How many got sold? How many What was the average days on market? What was the high? What was the low? And you just take that data. You can actually even just take that screenshot and just slap it on the back and send it out. Then you go back. You talk about you talk about basically. Sorry, let me take a step back. Because there's 26 mailings that we're sending out. We know out of this 26, 12 of them are going to be market updates. Everybody with me? The rest, you have 14 pieces. So 26 minus 12, you have 14 pieces that you have to fill in. In those 14 pieces, you can be as creative as you want. The other thing is, when you're doing your market update, don't say market update for Mississauga. Say market update for that particular area, Heartland. It's for like as small as you can go. For houses between Credit View to, like, you can specify that. Credit View to Terry Fox, from Britannia to to Bristol, or Britannia to Burnhamthorpe. Whichever area you pick. The more focused you are, the person that is reading it, they're gonna go, this person made it just for me. So do you see that? Because everybody else, what are they doing? Here's the market up there for Mississauga, here's the market up there for Toronto. When you go in and you have very specific information, it's going to change the conversation that people are having with themselves. Are you with me? Alright, so you have 12 market updates, you do one introduction, now you have option of just listed, just sold, you also have business winners. And I'm going to touch on that a little bit more. Then you also have some other ones that you can do. For example, you have community events. Right? So you could have community events that are going on. Is there a community center in that area?
Yes.
Yeah? So if you go to their website, they have a whole bunch of events that are listed.
And especially when the summertime is coming.
That's right.
Camping and that.
Also, you can take a look at different parks. They might have small events going on in the parks. Just take those, put them on the website, on your, put them on your flyer. Now, other thing that you want to do, and I'm going to turn this around a little bit. The other thing you want to do is, now this is how you increase your response rate. So first thing you do is you're going to door knock every week. So one day of the week, what you're going to do is you're going to go out there and you're going to knock on every door. But when I say every door, it doesn't really mean literally every door. You only have 834 homes there. So 830, I'm going to come around so you guys don't have to turn around and look at me. So you have 834 homes. So if you knock 20, let's say if you knock 20 doors
A day.
a week even, how long will it take you to go through the whole area? So 25, 8 times 5 is what? 40? So that's 400 days. So that's probably 40 weeks. That's 40 weeks. So in 1 year, you can knock 834 doors. But you can do more than that. Like one street will have probably, like I would do one street every weekend. And you will knock up 100 homes, 150 homes.
Say the last sentence. What did you say?
You do one street every weekend. One day a week.
Yeah.
You just dedicate to go out and door knocking. Right? Now, cold calling, very, very easy to do. How many of you know that we have do not call list?
Yeah,
You have access to it too. So as part of your services in the brokerage, you have access to it. So you can just log in, type in the street name, and just call. Now, if it says do not call, don't call them. Avoid them. The ones that don't have it, call them. So what is happening now? You have flyers going out every 2 weeks, and they're actually seeing you in the area. You are cold calling them, so they're hearing your voice on the phone too. Now, collecting and publishing local news on a local website. Now, your flyers that you're sending out, instead of having your own name, spend some time and make just a simple WordPress site. It could be as simple as going to WordPress.org and making one. It would be like, I don't know, terryfoxway.wordpresssite.com or wordpress.org. It's free. You can make it right now. And it's very, very simple to make. And then publish that. Once you have it published, take a look at the local events that are coming up and start putting blog posts up. Start going to those local events, taking a couple of pictures and posting them up. So anytime in the area somebody's looking for information about that, so they say, hey, what's going on in Heartland? All of a sudden your website starts showing up. Because why? You have relative information, it's in Heartland. You have current information because you're updating it on a more regular basis. And also because it's new, it's unique content. It's content that only you are creating. Start a local Facebook page. So you set up a local page, you can go, if you have a Facebook profile, you can go and set up a Facebook page right now. So set up a page for your local neighborhood. And then any information you're publishing over here, you start publishing over there. And then you take the information from here, you start publishing over here too. So on your flyers too. Do you see how everything starts creating a momentum for you? So you're creating information once, you're posting here. From here, you can take that information over here. From here, you can start publishing local. Like the local market stats you're creating, you publish them on your website too. And then what starts happening? You start putting on your flyers. For more information, go to heartlandhomesforsale.com. Notice that anywhere in here, like your information is the least important thing. When people are getting information that they're looking for and they want to know who is providing it, they will find out. Our name does not have to be plastered everywhere. If you're providing market stats, they will know who's providing the market stats. It's easy to figure out. Alright, so now you have this, you have published local materials. Now let's take it a step further. How many of you know that you can target in Google, sorry, in social media, you can target your ads by postal code?
And Facebook is.
Yeah. So in Facebook, you can target by postal code. So now what you can do is anybody, you can create an ad, and it says anybody that goes through this area, or lives in this area, or travels to this area, show them my ad. And what is your ad? It's your Facebook page, so you get likes, or they can get information about what's happening in the neighborhood. So let's say you spend another $1,000 on this. Let's say $2,000. You have effort that you have to put in. You're doing effort over here. This is free. This is free. The only thing that you're going to do now is spend $2,000 on social media ads. Did you miss anything? So the older generation that is there, that doesn't do Facebook or doesn't do like a smartphone, you're hitting them with flyers. People that don't do smartphone, they usually have a home phone, so you're doing cold calling. People that usually don't do either of those, you're going to knock on their door. Then people that are not usually home, they're just hanging out, you can go Facebook, social media. And then from there, you actually are providing them an anchor too. So you have your website that is going to be an anchor, and then you have a Facebook page that is going to be an anchor as well. Come on this side, because I'm going back and forth over there. So you have all of these anchors that are created. So if flyers alone are generating a 1 to 2% return, if you couple them all together, these items with it, your return is going to be almost double. I would say probably 4 to 5%. We know that this system is viable at 1%. Right? So we ran the numbers over here. So at 1% the system is viable. Now we are basically at 4 to 5%. Any questions? Do you want to run through another example?
It's okay.
It's okay? It's simple, right? Like, is there anything hard in here? Like, you pick an area, you don't have to pick a big area. That's the number one problem. Because what happens is, we start picking too big of an area, we get greedy. We're like, okay, I can do 2,000 homes. Or I can do 5,000 homes. The problem is, if you go 2,000 homes, this 8,000 becomes 16,000. And we start thinking that this is not a big enough area. This is a big enough area. Just start. This is where you're going to start. This 8,000 is very inflated. I'm guessing this number is probably around 6,000. Because you're doing about 26,000 flyers, you're going to get volume discounts.
26,000?
Yeah, 1,000 flyers a week, and then 26 weeks, that's 26,000 flyers. You're going to get a huge volume discount. This number is really, really overinflated. And also remember, you don't have to pay this right up front. You're only paying, your investment is $300 per delivery. So at $300 per delivery, concentrate on a small number and just do it consistently. Now let's say you follow this plan and you do get good results. What do? Do not drop this area. You do not drop this area. What you do is you go back to that walk we were looking at, and this is SS0704, you look at 705 or 703, and a budding walk. Because don't forget, there's organic growth that's going to happen too. Once you're doing this, your for sale signs start popping up, you're going to automatically start branching into other areas. The key is don't leave this area, add one right beside it. Now, don't do this either, that you are successful over here, you get 2 clients in this one area and you start hammering that area with flyers. That's not part of your plan.
Little bit.
Take a look right beside it. Now, if you go, you actually make like the sales that we talk about, like 30 sales over here. Like if you're able to get those 30 sales, you can go pepper all of Mississauga to all I care. The point is, you want to start small and grow gradually.
Why you kept it 1%?
I'm saying, like, if you
Okay,
really are doing a poor job and going and presenting, and you get at least 1%, but you should be able to get way more than that. I can't see any reason why you would be getting 1%. What else? I didn't talk about businesses. This is something I promised I would talk about. So there's 82 businesses over here in this particular farm area, right? Now, the 82 businesses exist because they are supporting these 834 homes. So is it possible that somebody in these 834 homes would appreciate a discount to one of these businesses? Now, if you go to those 82 businesses and you say, hey, look, I'm sending about 1,000 flyers out in this area, would you like me to include you free of charge? There's no cost to you. All you have to do is any future sales that you're going to make to those people, give them a 10% discount. I'm going to send flyers out on your behalf, right? Anybody that comes and brings my flyer to you, just give them 10% off.
Who will pay that 10%?
Why are you getting worried? It's the person, the business will pay. Because they just got something for free from you.
Hmm.
That business they just got was free.
Okay.
They didn't pay for the flyer, they didn't do anything, right? They didn't do any of that. You paid for the flyer, you did all of it. All you're asking is, hey, just give them 10% off. If you don't want to do that, that's fine too. Go to the next business. There's enough businesses out there.
82 businesses.
There's 82 businesses, yes. You can go to a coffee shop over there and you can say, you know what? I'm going to send flyers out. You don't even have to give them a discount. I'm just sending you flyers out. Just on your coffee, put my sleeve on it. I've seen agents downtown do it. You have their sleeve on the coffee. You know how you have the hot sleeve on the coffee? That's their advertising.
Even they are giving them the sleeves, or they?
They make them, print them and give them to them.
Bulk.
And they do it for free. So they send the flyer out once every quarter. So there's a lot of ways. Now you have to be smart and see how you can create synergy over here. Tax season is coming up. You know what? Go to our local tax accountant that is there. And if you go there, you get 10% off. Do you think an accountant is going to mind that? They're going to be more than happy. Pizza places, they always have discounts. You know that, right? Pizza places are the easiest one that you can deal with. They always have discounts that they're advertising to the public. You just tell them, hey, can I use that in my advertising? They'd be more than happy to give you it. You just make sure you talk to them beforehand that this is coming from me. How many of you know about the Corporate Plus cards? I have shared it before. Corporate Plus cards. It's a service that you can get. I have that service, and what it does, you can actually go into the neighborhoods and you can, I'm negotiating with you this discount, right? If I'm negotiating with you the discount, I can add it into my system, the system that I have, and then it stays there. So if I give my client the card, they can actually walk in there and get that discount at any time. But you can actually do it twofold. So I'm just looking at leveraging. So you can add it to your system and use it for your marketing as well. If somebody wants to have more information about it, I can provide that. So now you're leveraging the businesses in there too. Now you can pick and choose which business you want to work with. So Brick, for example, you're in Heartland. Brick, for example, always has a standing 10% off if you actually go and show them that you're a registered business. it'll give you 10% off, no problem. So you can always take a look at that. So if somebody's looking to buy furniture, you can take a look if there's a gardening place, you can take a look at if there's a snow removal, stuff like that. That is relevant, you can incorporate those. So basically, you have 12 over here for market, and then you have 14 of whatever you want to do. You do those 14 and 12, that's 26 mailers for the year, and you're set. The question is now you just got to keep on repeating it. You can't start and then stop. Once you start, you're not going to stop this. I know guys in Toronto that where I was trying to break in, they lived and died by flyers. I was going online marketing, I was doing websites, and I was having a really hard time breaking them because it was an older crowd and I wasn't hitting my target, my audience. But this guy, he just sent flyers over and over. Every week there's a flyer from him that is coming out. And every week he would do this. He would send, one was just listed, and 2 weeks later it would be just sold. Just listed, just sold. Just listed, just sold. That's all he did. So what are buyers and sellers, what are sellers looking for? They're looking for somebody who can list and market their property and make sure they deliver results. So just listed, just sold. Just listed, just sold.
So what if we don't have any solar?
Well, you have a lot of other stuff, right?
Okay.
Right? You got to start somewhere. So you have a lot of all this stuff. I'm giving you what they're doing, and I'm giving you some other options as well. So you have to decide what is right for you. So we talked about it, just listed, just sold, businesses. You can do community events. We have other stuff like starting a local Facebook page. You can incorporate all of these things, and you can generate business. What is your biggest concern in this whole thing?
How to copy the flyers?
The flyers, you can go online and Google them. Take a look at the flyers. Yeah. Generating leads is the biggest concern. So you would think that if you send 26,000 flyers, you're not going to get one lead. That's right. And then you're gonna increase that too, right? Because you're gonna do the door knocking. So every week you go and door knock. What are the chances of you getting somebody when you're door knocking? You have done deals before with door knocking, right? Cold calling. It's not as hard as it looks. You used to do cold calling a lot before.
Picking, got a question here. I just came, so picking an area, what's the criteria, what's the turnover ratio in there?
So we just ran an area where there were 115 total listings, total properties, 115 sessions, so listings that came. So individual listings. Out of them, 40 were terminated, 65 were sold. So we took 50% of the terminated, and there were 2 expires. So we took 50% of the terminated as actual terminations, right? And that it led to 76%.
Because I ran it through, right, that's one. So turnover for the last 2 years sales, because you're actually picking based on the career walk that you're doing.
Yes.
Because you're depending on that. So whatever you get in that career walk, that's what it is.
Yes.
Because you're doing circulation, so based on
I'm picking an area based on where I live.
Okay.
I'm just looking at where I live, and I can take that out and I can put it where I live. Because we picked where Shabazz lives and we used that area as an example. You can use this for wherever you live. And if you are not getting enough absorption, right, if the absorption is not there, don't fret. If the absorption is not there, it's not a popular area right now. It will become popular.
Because last 2 years, picking up a geo farm area, for an area, last 2 years, 4 or 5 turnover, and it's very hard to get even that number in most of the area because you are depending on the career walk. We cannot just book like Heartland area or Great View area and book it, pick that area based on that. So 4 and 5 per turnover ratio, and I've seen what other, like I live at Great View Britannia, and I've seen so many, I've been living in that area for 10 years, I've seen so many, even I used to see some like 80 flyers in there, right? And I see market stats bi-weekly or monthly. I've seen initially maybe bi-weekly in the season, then monthly. But I see they just vanish. So I don't
They
know
vanish, that's the thing.
why.
That's the thing, because, so it's not sustainable if you're doing it on such a big scale. See, over here, we're like 1,000 homes, right, and it's $8,000 for the year. How much is it for 100,000? Like, how many homes are in Mississauga? You can estimate how much their budget is going to be. Like, let's say they get it for dirt cheap, like half the price, $4,000 for 1,000 homes for a year. In Mississauga, does anybody know how many houses are there?
I was actually in the same area. I was looking now, Chan Grove. They
Yeah.
are sending these
Yeah.
market updates. I see them every month. I'm
Yeah.
actually seeing
But
that.
see, the problem is nobody else is doing them, and it's created this gap. Take a look in your area. Who's the one guy that dominates your area? Think about it. Newsstream. Okay, so Newsstream is dominating over there. So how does Newsstream dominate that area?
Bus shelters, buses, and flyers.
And flyers. It's flyers mostly, bus shelters and buses, they don't do anything.
Yeah.
It's just a way for them to remember your name. And the other thing is, you would want to pay attention to what kind of flyer that they're sending. Is there anything customer related? Is there customer focused flyers? And you can do the same thing.
Well, they're smart. They have it in 2 different languages.
Yes.
Because I live in a predominantly Chinese area.
There you go. So that's the reason. So there is, it's geo farming, right, with ethnicity farming. So a demographic. So they're going after a specific demographic.
Yeah.
And then if your for sale signs start popping up in the area, other people are going to start coming to you too, because they see the sold signs coming.
Yeah.
So going back to what you were talking about, if you have an area that is 834, right, and you get 1% return from it, that's 8. We're saying that from 834, we're going to get 16.68 inquiries in a year. Your number is going to be much higher than that. 16.68 is a very low number. So out of 20,
Inquiries.
sorry?
Inquiries.
Inquiries.
Okay.
So these are actual proper, like people looking to buy or sell. Sorry, people looking to sell, because that's what we're focused on. And out of those 16.68, we're saying you're going to get 50% of them. That's 8. It's not a far-fetched number. Then, we also did some numbers. We said, okay, for every one listing that you're going to get, those people have to buy a house too. You have one transaction. And you're probably going to get one more listing, one more lead out of it. Because when you put the property up, even if you do nothing, you put it on MLS, you get one inquiry out of it. So there's 3 transactions per listing. Now, the whole system over here is designed so that you can pick one area and just focus on that one area. Now, because you can't control where your buyer is going to go and you can't control if this guy's going to buy in here, you're going to have to step outside of that area. So your life continues the way it is. But you become the listing agent for that one area. That's the idea.
But we have the only problem, we are never continue our practice.
That's right.
We just have couple of transactions and we stop.
We put our hands up.
Yeah, so I know the door knocking, I think that is the best practice for everybody.
Door knocking is one aspect of it. You pick an area that you want to be known in,
Yeah.
right? This also goes in hand in hand. If you have a vehicle, you're driving around in the area, make sure you have some sort of sign on your vehicle. Get your back window covered up at the very least. It's a couple of $100, $200 to get your back window covered up. And it says, asking about real estate, and then it's your local website, not your own like real estate, like listing website, local website. Simple. And then all in all, you probably have a cost of, let's say, $10,000 over here. And at the very minimum, if you get one transaction, you're still $32,000 ahead. That's how much money people make in a year working for somebody.
So if somebody has done this for 2 years and didn't get the result,
Come talk to me. I will pay you.
no, I'm just.
No, I'm saying, like,
It means that there must be something missing.
they're doing something wrong in there.
Yeah.
See, what is the main touch points that they have? They have touch points are the flyers. So if you start writing flyers from your own perspective, nobody's gonna relate to them. the language you have in here has to be related to how the consumer is looking at that information.
And how do we know that what they are looking? The consumer, you said,
Yeah, put yourself in in the buyer's shoe. What is the information a buyer would be looking for? So you'd say, okay, when you're doing market update, right? If you say Mississauga real estate update, is very broad. But when you say
it's particularly.
particular area where they live, it's talking to them in their own language. Do you see, understand what I'm saying? So I say Heartland real estate or Heartland market update, that is much more focused than Mississauga real estate or Mississauga real estate update. So people will gravitate more towards Heartland because it's local to them versus Mississauga. When you're talking about community events that are focused to Heartland, Heartland people will read them and they'll say, oh, I could go to here or I could go to here. Whereas when you send all of Mississauga, first of all, it's way too long and nobody's going to ever read through it. And two, if somebody reads through it, they have to pick which one they're going to want and they would never end up going. And if you offer additional, like we talked about, like starting a local Facebook page, you provide a community for people to interact with each other. You collect and you publish local news on a local website. All of these things, they're going to amplify your returns. You can get this. This is not far-fetched. Any questions?
I did 2 years,
Yes.
maybe 2.5 years. Lisgar area.
Yes.
14, 15, 75 was my sample size.
Yes.
It was a mixed house and free boards.
Yes.
I think I didn't cover the business part,
Mm-hmm.
but the rest I've covered.
Yeah.
In 2 years, I did 3 transactions out of it.
2 years, 3
And
transactions.
there was like in terms of QDs, I think about 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
2 that I got was from the door knocks. I mean,
Mhm.
they buy and sell, so one person buy and sell, one just
Yep.
sell. That was
Yep.
the thing. I did it almost about 2.5 years. But so, do you think the area was not right or what happened?
You see, there's nothing wrong with the area, right? What it is that you weren't using the multipliers.
No, I was doing door knocking, absolutely. I-
Every day, every week?
No, I mean, see, again, the question is, I don't think so you can do every week, and then I'll tell you why. Because, see, if you go to run a particular street, right, there were townhouses.
Mm-hmm.
If you, on a random per day, I think you'd be lucky if you're gonna go knock about 20 doors. You'll be lucky you'll find like 4 or 5 people.
That's right, yeah.
That's any point of time. Now, yes, you have missed that for those days. You're gonna try maybe after a few days. If there's 1700 door knocks, it's not gonna take you maybe about 3 weeks to finish that out. And then you're not gonna going back to them with waiting next month.
Oh, no. When you're doing door knocks, you're doing one street a day, a week. So you're going through that whole area, you're taking a year.
No, but still, I'm just sharing what I.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that.
And definitely, once you're knocking, I don't want to see that person unless, like, usually I do what I have sold, I just bring that listing, he has just sold that, anybody interested in buying and selling. I mean, and then tell them it was 7 years and majority or 10 years, right? Or you try to get the referral from them if they know somebody. So you're not going to go, the very next one, hey, Mr. Joe, I met you, and hey, I'm marketing. You're not going to go. Like,
So let me-
that's what it is.
Let me ask you a question. Can you tell us what kind of flyers you were sending?
Well, I've got basically what I did was front. I already got like 6 flyers ready
Mhm.
before I go to jump into the market.
Yeah.
And if, it was like in springtime gardening tips.
Okay.
And summertime summer tips. And then you have the just sold. What I sold, I just put not necessarily in that market, but any other market that I was dealing in. I just
Mhm.
put it in the back and
Yeah.
just sold. And it was even that time when it was like 40,000 above market or 30,000, I put it like that. You will get leads from there, no doubt about that. But maturing time of that, because remember, you are now targeting people that are living there for maybe 5 years, 10 years, 4 years,
Yep.
whatever, right? That's what it is. And the size was good. I worked on the numbers. I went through the turnover rates and everything. But in terms of results, Because you need to also try to see what you're spending onto it, and it's good $6,000-7,000 you're spending leased in there. I've got my bus stop sign there as well. I did it for a year in there, but I wasn't getting a result because of that. Yes, people start knowing you gradually. In terms of community events, they have got Linda, I think one of the in there.
But she's been there for a long time.
So yes, they have got this clean drive or something like that. You go there, that's something you enhance on. But I mean, if like. I think, I don't know, after doing that for that year, if you're not able to penetrate in there, because yes, did I made a loss? No, I didn't make a loss, right? My investment was the time in there. But in terms of getting results out of it, I think it's better. I did somehow that area doesn't suit me or something. Because I've done, if not 10 out of 10 activities, I did end up doing 7 which is still, I think,
Yeah, no, it's good.
Right.
See,
and I'm just sharing, not
Yeah.
to discourage anyway, but I mean, if somebody expecting that they'll do a farming, I was reading at one of the videos for my daddy, and he said that they do the farm, just 2 years they focus in there, and then they forget that. I mean, within 2 years, they don't expect a return. And after that is, they go to see if that's, and that's what I've noticed in my area, where I'm living, so many starts and ends in that area. New stream also, in terms of listings, I don't agree. I think it's that they have got listings right now. They are advertising, so
Really?
yeah.
I've seen a lot of this listing for New Stream in my area, especially off of Mavis. Mavis Matheson is there as well.
no, but there's also, don't forget, there's what, 6 agents that are working in there, and there's one manager, or,
Yeah.
and then they're all focusing in that one area.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. Let's not use any
You
names.
see the older times, Philip Chan, that area belongs to us.
Yeah.
I'm talking about maybe 7 years back or
Yeah.
8 years back, and it's everywhere Philip Chan.
Yeah.
And then the guy who live in our locality, the guy is gone.
Yeah.
And being nice, I met a few times, but I mean, what I'm seeing, like, I want your expertise, so I'm sharing what I did.
Yeah.
And
So
I
we can
think
sit
I did
down.
7 activities, I was there.
Yeah, so we can sit down and we can take a look at the message that you're sending out, right? So there's what was lacking in there is more maybe community events, bringing people in, because you're one person. If you bring champions that are people that are supporting you, the people that resonate with the message that you're sending out, and they start spreading your word out, that's what you need. So the more focused you are on what the prospect is looking for, the easier it becomes to have that conversation. So we can sit down and we can go over your flyers that you have, and if they're not proprietary, maybe we can even make it a plan.
No, I won't be having that many.
No, but we could actually create a plan that anybody that wants to join, you can just copy, and then create a plan for everybody. And we can do an experiment on 2 different areas. Actually, me and Awais were just looking at starting one area too. So, because I have done enough research. I used to have flyers before, but I always stopped. I did the same thing as you. Did it for a year, and then I'm like, not getting the same results. Like I just got my money back, so stop. But that was my mistake. So for me, I should have just kept on going.
So question, so there is a software as well that you pay for that software that basically will tell you the projected people that are planning to move. What's that software?
It's the same calculations that we just did. So it just takes that and projects it in the future.
No, but they gives you in that one actual people that are going to.
Okay, so one of the ways that I used to do, and this is what they automate, okay? When I was working in Vaughan area in Sonoma Heights, I went through all of the properties that have sold in 5 years ago, that haven't sold again. So I know once the property was sold 5 years ago, it's coming due for another sale sometime soon. So I made a list of all of them and I would send handwritten notes to those people. That's what that system is doing. It's just going into the last sold date and picking out, oh, these are the properties that haven't sold in the past four years. And they should be coming up, so the probability of them coming up for sale is much higher. They also look at, okay, when was it built? When was the last sold? What was the average duration? Okay, when was the last property that came up for sale? So it runs an algorithm and it creates a probability that these properties are going to be coming up for sale soon. But that doesn't work in Canada yet though, because it's not all public. Like, it's public, but you have to go individually. You don't have big data for that information. In the US, yes. In the US, they can actually pinpoint how many properties are gonna be coming for sale over here. Questions?
Yeah, well, sorry, the 3 deals you made, was that on the latter end of the 2.5 years?
Well, see, even the 3 that I did was one person doing a door, like I was doing the door knocks
Yeah.
in there, and that's how I got that deal. And from that deal, because you need to get some in that area, so for me it was, then I started advertising that one, that listing, and more door knocks, detached and stuff. I think if you're doing, they say usually 4 knocks per year, it has to be with that same door, right? If you're talking, that's what.
4.
4, least, same one.
So I have to go through 2,000. Okay, so if my sample size is 500, I have to go through 2,000 people?
Yeah, I mean, the same door has to be knocked 4 times, but again, first one, it's going to be an intro. Second one is going to be, like, okay, they see you're doing something, it's really fun. Open houses are very key in that.
That's when you start getting listings.
Yeah, that's, open houses very key, but I mean, you can pick somebody from the office if they've got a listing in that area to do an open house, because then the actual advertising that you are actually, they met you and then they see that you're actually working in that area, getting some business, not just a go-now. Competition in that, anywhere you go, you'll find competition, so you cannot think, delete that. The door, even the second one was on the same street, right? So I was following them for the last 2 years. There was an old lady, then finally she sold and bought last year.
So it was the latter half of your 2.5 years?
The first one was in the beginning,
Okay.
right? And then the second one was after 2 years.
Okay.
And meanwhile, I was getting leads, I had appointments, people knowing the value, right? But actually getting business out of it, it didn't work out.
So this goes back hand in hand. So you're getting inquiries. So make sure if you're implementing the system, you're tracking it. The other is work on your language. So the communication that you have, how are you doing your presentations when you're having a conversation? Are you following a script? Make sure that you're following the script.
By the way, sorry, in terms of when I see that, it's not that they didn't list with me, they didn't sold.
Yeah. No, understandable. Yeah, no, I'm not saying that you weren't able to convert them. That's not the intention. Yeah, but the point is not that you weren't able to convert. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying is that the likelihood, because we have some new agents, we have experienced agents too, so you have to pay attention to your language, because if you don't have that skill, work on that too, because there's no point in investing all of this money and then you get a phone call and now you can't even have a conversation. So it's very, very important. But all in all, a good strategy over here that you can employ and you can actually make money off of it. Hopefully somebody will take us on, because me and Awais, we're going to be starting that in the Meadowvale area. If you have a couple of other agents that are looking to join in, we can work out something that we can, like if you have some ideas that you can bring to the table, put a little mastermind together.
Question, this is for houses, right? What about condos?
You can do the condos too.
Because no door knocks in there, and phone calls also is like most.
The condos mostly investors, so you're not getting the actual owners.
Yeah, so condos is a little bit different.
Big building, always they're going to be tenants.
But here's the thing, like there's always going to be limitations in everything that you do. I'm going to give you another example. So if it's a rental building, right? For rental buildings, you can pull first-time buyers from there. If you specialize in first-time buyers, you send flyers that are specifically focused on first-time buyers. So what are the incentives that are available? Now everybody is doing them. You take it a step further. You go to the super and you say, hey, listen, I'll pay you $50. I'll rent you a room over here too. And I want to put a seminar together for first-time home buyers. Can I send flyers out in the area too?
In condos, because the challenge that I came across and I didn't do it was how to get a career walk in there, because there will be houses and then there will be buildings. And
We were doing the precision targeter before. In precision targeter, when you're going through it, you actually gives you the option if you want to pick businesses, houses, apartments, and farms. So if you just pick apartments, it will take it to the condos.
but it's still, if you like, let's suppose 1,200 units are there, right? So you want to target, and the way they make it is like it's probably the rental building if you were doing square one.
Mm-hmm.
Rental plus a condo building.
Yeah.
Now, you cannot pick and choose in that, you have to.
Absolutely. So you just send two different messages then. You send two different messages because you want to resonate with the person, right? So different people. So you're going to be a buyer because you're a first-time home buyer. He's a seller because he owns the condo, but two buildings side by side in the same walk. So when I send the message for first-time buyer that is focused towards you, he's going to completely ignore it. When I send it for the seller, you're going to completely ignore it. The point is, like the future, I keep on saying it, the future of marketing is specialization, like really, really specialized. So when your message is really, really specialized, it's focused, people will resonate. The people that you're looking for are going to resonate. Like if you say like, you take a look at the demographic of an area, you say, okay, most of the people over here are over 40 years old. You know you can pull the demographics, right? So you can just take a look at StatsCan, our 2000 and I think we have the next one coming up soon too. So you can take a look at of the stats and say most of the people are more than 40 years old. Okay, most of the people that are over here that are Caucasian. So and most of the people over here like golf. You can take a look at these three stats and say and design a message that is for 40 plus, likes golf, Caucasian, and it will resonate with them. It's the devil's in the details. That's all you have to do. All right, guys? Any questions? All right, so next week we have another session like this coming up. And the week after we have a session with John McNodock, yes, from Remax Integra. He's coming up and he's doing action plans, business plans, and CRMs. So basically he's going to be a special guest coming in. If you have any suggestions for any articles that you want me to do, feel free to let me know. I can do some research on them and I can come and collect and present information.
Yeah. So just add on, we are making flyers, me and Ali, come next week or the week after. So if somebody wants to also make flyers, I'm sure we can get a good bulk deal.
Yeah. So we can do one-sided the same, the other sided we keep them, like everybody puts their own. So there's some bulk deals that we could work on.
Where are you getting it from?
No idea yet.
And, sure.
Yeah.
I'm talking to the three guys right now. One or two of them have responded. One has responded, actually, Kyle.
Okay.
I'm gonna talk to
Check microprinting, they will go to the ad, I did that, they will.
Microphone?
All right, guys. Thank you very much.